From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is ParksCenter. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you for joining us on ParksCenter tonight. I'm Rob Whiteside, and with me is Patrick Hackett.
Unmuted as always.
Jill Diffendahl.
Hello, everyone.
Kamila Saunders.
Good evening.
And Pete Carney.
Siva Cohen, happy Wednesday to you all. It's a glorious day.
Yeah, we got a great show for you guys tonight. We are going to go over our March Madness bracket like we do every year. We're going to go over what they're going to be talking about tomorrow night and kind of give some early predictions of what's going to happen, and then all of it will go completely wrong. And then in the meantime, there's a lot of stuff that's been happening that we want to kind of catch you guys up on. So we will start with talking about something that went down today. I'm not sure if you guys heard about the little festival that they're having, the Epcot. Taste of the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival happened. They've got the Spikes Pollination Exploration 2021. They've got all kinds of merch that you can spend your cash money on. They've got some entertainment, and they've got butterflies. So, I mean, I'm excited about this, but I think Kamila was super excited about it. She looked like she was about to commit to those years, and then she backed off on it. So, Kamila,
You got me.
Yeah, I did. How you feeling about all this?
You know what? So I have to say, I love the Flower and Garden show. I love a good flower in general, but add Disney into the mix, and I'm there. This is actually, we're coming up on when I was going to be at Disney. Sole purpose was to go to the Flower and Garden show. I had got these ears especially for it. I had an outfit. I was ready. And to be honest, you know, everything I've seen from the sneak peeks that we had over the weekend to what we've seen so far today, it looks really lovely. The weather in Florida looked really nice today. So I'm jealous of anyone who gets to go.
Totally rocking those ears. And Pete, you were actually there today, weren't you?
I was there all day long, and if you missed our 7-hour live stream, when this is over, you can go back and watch. Put yourself to bed. But yeah, we had a really great day. It was a ton of fun, a little bit warm, but we reviewed every single food and beverage option. So if you have not checked it out, when this show is over, WDWNT.com, and go check out all the reviews. And we had a ton of fun today. Yeah. I mean, we all complain. Maybe I say I had a ton of fun. If you watch the stream, you'll see a lot of complaining from Tom and Josh. But I had a really good day. See Eric and others join in. It was a fun day. And any questions you may have, I'd be happy to answer. But I will save time for everyone else, yes.
And Jill, you moved back home just in time to miss the Flower and Garden Festival.
Literally like 10 days, and I would have been there. It's No, I love Flower and Garden. It's probably not my favorite festival, but I do really enjoy it. I think there's a lot of fun new stuff this year. They've got some cute new topiaries. They've got cute merch. That Spaceship Earth bowl is pass holder glasses. I'm not wild about that Minnie. I'm creeped out by her extra long legs and thing. My internet is being all freezy. Pete has the magic band. There it is, featuring the Minnie. I want
I think that's so cute.
It is. Her legs are weird, and she's got this eyeshadow on that kind of makes it look like she's stoned. It's weird. I don't know. I don't care for it, but then again, I'm not a Minnie fan, as I've said before, so it's fine. I'm excited about Voices of Liberty. I love that they gave them a new show for this festival. At first it was kind of like, I was a little surprised at the song choices because they start with This Land Is Your Land, then they do a couple of songs from Princess and the Frog, and then they do a song from them. And I was kind of like, that seems weird. But then I watched the video, and it's freaking amazing.
They do change that up, if I could just say so. We didn't know this, but I do the live stream on Tuesdays, and if you guys don't watch, please come join us on Tuesdays to do a live stream every Tuesday. We were in Epcot kind of previewing Flower and Garden before the big kickoff today, and we got to catch a Voice of Liberty show last night, which was we didn't know it at the time, a preview of today. So basically your first song is going to be a very Americana song, and that ranges between those 4 or 5 songs in their repertoire, which we all know from them singing in the Rotunda inside the American Adventure. So it's going to be one of those patriotic Americana songs. The second song is kind of something they borrowed from Festival of the Arts, is they do a one-movie kind of mega mix of all the songs from the movie. Yeah. So you heard The Princess and the Frog, but there are other shows and versions where they do, but what they do is they preface it with an American quote, like, hey, America's the land of dreams, you can be anything you want to be in this world, in this life. So, and then all of a sudden you hear like, ooh, and it'd be like Princess and the Frog mega mix, and you're like, that's nice. And then they close it with what I call a wild card or a hybrid. So in the show that I saw last night, before today, it was, and it shook me. There's certain songs that just hit me, and if you do it in a cappella, it breaks me. And they did The Greatest Showman, like mega mix, where they were talking about, here in America, no matter, what your goals, what your dreams, what you believe in, who do you love, whatever. And they gave this like such a powerful breath, and then led into the Greatest Showman song. I'm just sitting there on the live stream like, don't talk, Pete. Like, there's just tears coming out. Like, applause. Thank God I'm wearing a mask and glasses and a hat. It's interesting. Like, I love anything Voices of Liberty, but they had a very clear direction. I feel like during Festival of the Arts, which is this whole point, and this is kind of like, I feel like anything they wanted to be. It's like it's classic Voices of Liberty, Americana, Disney in the middle, whatever they just did at Festival of the Arts, and then the wild card song, and it's Thank You So Much. And in the next show, they changed all 3. So
that's fantastic. Yeah, because at Festival of the Arts, it was pretty much the same show every time. And so I guess I assumed this would be the same way as well, but I'm excited to hear that there's some variety so I can catch other stuff. But they're always amazing. I love them. Their outfits are cute. Absolutely. It's fun to see them in something a little more cash for this festival.
We call it casual Tuesdays on the stream, but yeah, they're in like khakis and jeans. Honestly, they all look like they just walked out of the Old Navy catalog. That's literally look at any video
and they're gonna go
today
have
or
a
yesterday.
That was such a bad time to take a sip.
Old Navy, July 4th, 1999. Like, that's it.
I had that one.
So also at Epcot, we have a lot of upgrades that they did, and I assume they did it timed with the opening of the Flower and Garden Festival. Not the upgrades I was looking for. I was really hoping that the Rat Ride would be open for this, but they have some other stuff happening. They've got a new music loop at the entrance. They've got a new nighttime light package, not the one that we're looking at for the 50th yet, but they've got the lighting package set up. But the one I'm most excited about, I love the logos at Epcot, the old school logos, and they've got these flags now that are going to be on each side of as you walk in of all of the logos. I'm just really super excited about this, and since we didn't go to you for the last one, Patrick, I want to get your take on this one first.
Oh, thank goodness you came to me for this one because I didn't have much to say about Flower and Garden. This is awesome. The light around the entrance plaza, the pulsing light, that's incredible. The flags just look amazing. And as long as you don't look beyond Spaceship Earth and into World Showcase Lagoon, Epcot is an absolutely beautiful place. This is the Epcot we were promised. If you were a Dungeons and Dragons, a Game of Thrones fan, they always talk about the prince who was promised. This is the Epcot we were promised. This is what it's supposed to look like. There's no tombstones out front. It's wide open. It's beautiful. It's fresh. And I cannot wait for the lights for the 50th. I know a few people have been a little bit negative. I think it could be an amazing addition, especially if we're going with these pulsing lights at the entrance. It made me so happy. It made me really, really miss Disney World.
Yeah. Pete, you saw this up close and in person? Or did you just duck in the back of Epcot, cool. Do the loop, and then duck back out?
No, I mean, I went up and peeked really quick. To me, I was like, guys, is it just the flags? Or because I was like, new lighting, I'm in. I'm on board. Lighting gets me a little hyped. I come from that background. Like, putting flags on a flagpole was not as exciting, but hey, it's super cool. Now they are officially saying, hey, this is it. We're ready. This is the Epcot we are going with, which is quite the commitment because they backed down from a lot of things around Walt Disney World and Epcot in general. So for them to commit, and at least in flag form, and say, we're going to really try our best and make all these things happen before 2029 is very exciting time. So yeah, this is really cool. Honestly, I love the light from my apartment. This is like so Epcot is the closest park to my house. Is I can see that light that comes up. So like that is so cool for me. Where like that is amazing. That is super cool. So I love all this stuff, and I couldn't agree more with what everyone else has said. Is that hey, like this is the Epcot we've been waiting for. And hopefully they don't drop the ball. But we have a lot to come. So we'll see.
I think Jill wants to say something, but she looks muted.
Also, you've got this giant metal ring in the middle of World Showcase that is 6 stories tall, and an incredible, crazy eyesore, and 2 giant taco barges that will be joined by 2 more giant taco. They're just, it's like they turned World Showcase Lagoon into a scrapyard. And there's just a bunch of scrap metal that they jumped in the middle of the lagoon.
No, we'll talk about the Stargate in just a second. Okay. But first I want to talk a little bit about they've changed the pass or the mask mandates for Disney, and I think that they've done a good thing here, and just in my personal opinion, because I think a lot of people, they get to the table, they sit down, they take off their mask, and they just spend the entire meal without their mask on, because it's like, they're pretending like COVID can't get you. If COVID knows you're sitting there to eat, COVID's going to go, shucks, they're going to be eating soon. I can't really do it. Yeah, exactly. So instead, you're sitting at the table without your mask on, and the waiter or the waitress comes up to the table, and you don't have your mask on at that point. I feel like if you're not eating, as uncomfortable as it may be, you really should still have your mask on. But I know that I may be in the minority on that, but I do think that anytime that you don't have to have it off, you probably shouldn't have it off. And
I want to go last, but can I just start with the question, and then I'm going to go last. Then what do you call a relaxation station? And should those exist if you are saying that? But a
relaxation station, you don't have a bystander, a waiter or waitress coming around to your table, or servers coming around to your table. You are by yourself.
Okay, so you're saying when you're interacting with another person that it should be on. Not that you think that when I'm sitting more than 6 feet away, I should have it on. It's just if I'm interacting with another person.
Correct. Yeah.
I find the timing of this weird. Like Disney has had restaurants open since June, if we want to, or actually since May, I guess, if we're including Springs. And this was never a thing before March. Like, why is this happening now? Why is this happening now when rates are dropping everywhere and the parks have been open for months and months and months, and we haven't heard anything? I'm not saying, I don't want to get into that, but I find it weird that this is happening now. That's all. Just why did this pop up all of a sudden, and where did it come from? What was the motivation for it? Why did it happen and it's not being enforced anywhere yet? I don't understand.
Yeah, I agree with Jill completely. To me, the timing is really curious. Why now? It makes me wonder, was there something that prompted it? Because I know Disney has definitely been reevaluating and reassessing throughout this entire time, and they've been in constant contact with people who can help them understand the ventilation flow and just all of the recommendations from the CDC and beyond. I think it's a good thing, but why weren't you always doing it? And it really also seems like you're asking a lot from people who are already working under really unique conditions. Now they have to also go to guests who are sitting down at these not cheap meals and tell them, you have to keep your mask on. It's really difficult, and I don't see it being enforced. I think it's going to be tough.
Right, and especially it's completely different than anything you experience outside of Disney in Florida. Outside of Disney in Florida, restaurants are at full capacity now, I believe. And, you know, this isn't happening. So you can go from one place and you go literally 2 minutes down the road and suddenly the rules are completely different. It's just weird to me. I don't understand. If it had been this way from the beginning.
I won't add anything else but this, is that literally I was in Melbourne visiting my cousins who are on vacation this weekend, and the bartenders, the staff, the hostess, no one who works in the restaurant wore a mask. Who worked there, who greeted us, who served us, who gave us our drinks, who made our drinks, went to a bar as well while we were waiting in the waiting room. Not a single staffer wore a mask, and I would say 80% of the patrons did not either, and this is just 45 minutes away from us here. I mean, it's a wild world, so whatever. Disney, I think this is just more protecting their behinds. I have not seen anyone enforce this. I think it's extremely hard to enforce. But, I mean, if Disney says in a lawsuit, well, it's clearly marked on our website, we ask them to wear their mask whenever possible, I think this is just a really Disney protecting themselves, and that's pretty much it. However, they have enforced mask rules in other areas, but this, I think, is almost impossible to enforce. And since we published this and I've been in many restaurants, it's not like they're coming up like, hey, you just finished drinking that water. Get it up. Like, no one's doing that at a restaurant. But those are just my 2 thoughts. Let's move on.
Okay. So with Pete's permission, we have one more story before we get into March Madness, and that is something that Jill alluded to, which is now they've put another showpiece out on the water, and they put another showpiece out on the water, and it's this huge, gigantic ring. And it's the centerpiece of what is going to be the most fantastic show that has ever existed in the history of water and nighttime shows. So,
okay, but what
Jill,
if it is?
I'm saying.
I agree.
Where's Dr. Daniel Jackson? That's what I want to know.
All right, Jill, you're up.
Sorry. Okay, this could be the most amazing nighttime show in Disney history. Let's just say that's the case. That's fine, but the nighttime show is going to be what? A maximum? How long was Illuminations? 20-some minutes? Wishes and Happily Ever After or under 20? Like, your park is open for at least what is it now? 9 hours a day. Sometimes it's open 10, 11 hours a day, and yet you're going to leave this big hunk of junk in the middle of the lagoon for 20 minutes and for a 20-minute spectacle every night, and people have to stare at its ugliness the other 8 hours and 40 minutes of the day. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. Sorry. It's ugly. The tacos are ugly. It's all ugly. It makes me so angry.
I love this vision of this monstrosity coming through this gate.
I would love
it
that.
Looks
but
literally
look at the
like
size of that.
I know. It looks like
size.
literally like a King Kong or a Godzilla coming through that thing. Yeah, it's ginormous.
But think of this show-stopping moment you would have pulling that out in the middle of the park day. And people who don't know, because let's be honest, there's not everybody watching WDWNT. They should be. But who don't know what's happening at night, and you roll out that giant thing, they're losing such a moment there, and that's what Disney's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about the moments. You shouldn't be staring at that go, oh, that's Harmonious. You should see it running out, and you should have Pete in the background, Harmonious, and that's how it should, enter into the Epcot arena.
Also, it's a perfect ramp shooting through the hoop. It is a great moment of people be like, wait, is someone about to jump this ramp? The hoop is taller than the ramp.
Is there a water show on this lagoon?
Yeah, what is about to happen? Is Mel Gibson now a part of Walt Disney? What is happening? All right, I'm sorry. I'll let Kamala go because I have no real input on this, except for the fact I have one fun fact. That ring is 60 feet tall, which is the same as the highest point on the Skyliner. So just to put that in perspective, that they are the same height. The highest point on the Skyliner is the same as the top of that ring. Fun fact. Go ahead, I'm done. Sorry.
My only thought on this is I feel like there's no way the Disney Imagineers who dreamt this up would give us something like this that ruins such a stunning view if they didn't feel like it was truly worth it. So I just feel like I'm willing to wait. I want to see. And I think during the day it's supposed to be a fountain, which, that could be really cool looking too. So I don't know. I kind of am cautiously optimistic that whether it's daytime or nighttime, this might be worth it, because I just can't imagine them ruining such a good view if they really didn't believe in it.
Well, that's a good point. No, I agree with that. I think that we all, again, and we talked about this last week, I think everybody wanted a super fantastic show after Illuminations because of how cherished it was, how well thought, how well planned, how well orchestrated Illuminations was. And now they're coming with these huge show pieces that are bigger than anything they've ever done, and already we hate it because they're so large and they're taking up the visual space that was this empty lagoon for us that we could see all the countries across there. So I hope that the fountains, when they turn them on, are a spectacle, and I hope that this nighttime show is fantastic. And I agree with you. I think I'm very hopeful that it will be amazing and we'll want to go back and see it again and again. So hopefully that'll be the case.
Really tough when I said anything will be better than Epcot Forever. This is a real test. This is a real test.
Understood. We have you quoted. So when ParksCenter started, it was during March Madness, right? So the whole idea was that ParksCenter was kind of giving commentary to the craziness that is March Madness on WDWNT, on News Tonight, them going through these brackets. And it's a lot of fun. I think as Disney fans, we love going through all of these brackets and comparing things and sharing our thoughts. And this year we've got another bracket going on. So it is March Madness. This time it is going to be ride vehicles. It is to honor the greatest theme park conveyance system of all time. So if you haven't checked it out on our site, go to wdwnt.com/mm. And you can register. So the deal is you go in and you register for a chance, or once you register, you get assigned some teams, and you get the ability to call in and influence the vote on Thursday night. I think that the very first time that I saw this happen, just as a fan, I was a little bit frustrated that I had not signed up and I couldn't influence the vote because I was like, what are you people thinking? So you definitely want to be able to go register now. You've got till 3 p.m. tomorrow to do it. On Thursday, 3/4. So if you're watching this later, you've missed it. But this is the opportunity you have to be a part of the madness. But what we want to do here is what we do in the past, is to go through and take a look at the brackets, the seedings, give our opinions on what we think is going to happen in each one. I don't think they have names yet. I think last year when we did this, each bracket had names. But I'm just going to pull it up on the board here, and we can kind of take a look at it a little bit and see. So they've got, in this first one, there's going to be a wild card entrant. And Jill, did you say you had a list of the wild card entrants that they're going to decide on tomorrow night?
I do.
I got it
so the eight ride vehicles that did not make the bracket were the following: the Carousel of Progress rotating theater, the horseless carriage, the clamshell from Seas with Nemo and Friends, If You Had Wings Dream Flight, Mission Space Capsule, the Grand Fiesta boat, and the Discovery River boat, and the Flying Triceratops from Triceratops Spin. So those are the eight that did not make the bracket. I think I know what I would pick too. But they are going to do a Disney Death Match at the beginning of the tournament breakdown tomorrow night, decide which of those eight gets that wild card spot in the bracket.
Patrick, you have dressed up for the occasion here.
Patrick has a commentator jacket on.
Yeah, I figured, we're going to do some real-life sports commentary here. I can put on the sport coat and give you my best ESPN talking head. If anybody in Bristol would like me, I am completely available for that.
Talk us through it.
Boats are going to have a huge advantage in this. I think the fans and I think the WDWNT staff love a good boat. I think boats and anything that has something special. Like, you want to say that 12 seat as the honeypot, at least it's different. It's not the same. I think, when you look at like the Spaceship Earth and some of the Omni movers, it's going to be hard to differentiate. Of course, you always got to watch out for Haunted Mansion and things like this. There's a lot of Mansion fans, and they go hard for their attraction. But I see a boat taking this.
Well, and the Nautilus is a boat, technically. It's listed as number 1. Do you feel like that's the right number 1 seed?
I don't think so. I feel like if we're focusing on Walt Disney World, I mean, we should try and get some more active things in there than things that are no longer around. I think it's a really, it's a mid seed. It's a somewhere between a 7 to 10. It's not a 1.
By the way, you've inspired this now, Patrick. I don't know what's going on here.
This is good.
I just want to say, Patrick making great points, but also, I mean, boats are probably the most iconic rides. You can get in a kid or an adult. It's that, it's a great vehicle. However, I just don't want people to get lost or in love when they're watching with, like Patrick mentioned, the ride. We are talking ride vehicles, functionality, and what it adds to that particular ride experience. But just because you like a certain ride doesn't mean that vehicle isn't the best. Or you might not like a ride, but that vehicle serves an amazing function to really elevate that ride to the next level. So I feel like it's something we should keep in mind when judging and looking at these ride vehicles.
What do you like it in this first bracket then, Pete?
So for me, I think a lot of the Omnimovers, they are revolutionary. They're amazing. There's probably only one that's probably, I would say, the best Omnimover, but there's a lot of Omnimovers. There's also a lot of boats that kind of do the same thing. You get in a boat, it goes 0 to 8 miles an hour, and there might be a drop. Maybe there's not a drop. Maybe there's a bigger drop than others. How particular and how microscopic with the details we're going to get, I think is going to be a big deal. Like, there's only one Cali River raft, but hey, there's a lot of them. Maybe it's a standard vehicle. Maybe the ride's terrible, but maybe it's an amazing raft. Is that going to go as far as something as iconic as the People Mover? Which, who knows? Like, I really want to see where people fall and what ends up being that where the passion is. And I just hope that the integrity of the March Madness, which is the ride vehicle and not the ride itself, prevails.
All right, so to that point, I want to throw this to Jill and ask you this before you go into what you were going to say is, every year we know that Tom kind of sways the vote a little bit. Do you see something in this one or in the entire bracket that you think he's going to lean into? The Swiss bobsleds of 2021, if you will.
I think that the bobsled of this year, I'm going to call it as the Backlot Tram Tour vehicle, which I think is it's a 7 seed.
Oh, 7.
I call that as something that's going to cause some controversy at some point during this. Tom does absolutely have a way of kind of dominating the conversation and, dare I say, bullying people into voting the way he wants them to, so that the thing he wants to proceed into the next round does so. Just going on past experience, that's all. This is weird to me. I think Pete's absolutely right. The hard part about this entire tournament is going to be separating the vehicle from the ride. Because, like, for example, I love Living with the Land. It's one of my favorite rides. Is the boat that special? And it's all the other thing that's hard for me right now, having been there a bit recently, is separating the ride vehicle from the plexiglass experience, because that has absolutely impacted your experience. And that's 90% of the time that is ride vehicle based, that the ride vehicle has plexiglass or whatever on it that now actually gets in the way of your experience. So that's tough. But to Pete's point about things that, being really unique, like I would love to see the Rise of the Resistance ride vehicle go really far, because it's got basically an animatronic on it. Like, how many ride vehicles have their own animatronic on it, basically? Like, that's amazing.
And it's trackless and has a drop sequence.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I could talk about why I think Rise is the best ride in all of Walt Disney World too, but the ride vehicle makes a big piece of that. Like,
What if your
really
ride vehicle
amazing.
breathes between your legs and you could feel it breathing and flapping its wings? Kind of a big deal.
Slapping you in the back, zapping you in the
Oh,
stomach.
I love a good back massage.
So, Kamila, this is. Let me jump to you first or next. This is your first time doing this. Have you taken a look at this bracket? How are you feeling about this? Do you have a favorite already?
I mean, I'm one of those Haunted Mansion crazies, so that would be my number one. I think boats have a couple of big strikes against them. One is you're stuck on it with all those other people. What if there's someone who ruins your experience? The other thing is, I mean, this isn't really the ride vehicle's fault, but I would give extra points to ride vehicles that are also in air conditioning, because in Florida it's very hot. But I mean, People Mover and Haunted Mansion are ones that stand out to me. I like having my own space. I like when rides are longer and you can kind of really sit back and enjoy it to yourself and have your own kind of ride experience.
Yeah.
And some of these will be interesting. Like, for example, Dumbo is a number 1 seed. And I don't get me wrong, Dumbo is totally an iconic ride vehicle. But, like, it's not enjoyable for everyone. Like, I hate riding Dumbo because it kind of tips outward and the adult has to sit on the outside. So if I was riding with my niece, I would have to be on the outside. It kind of tilts down and it makes me feel like I'm going to fall out. Like, and I have a problem with heights. So for me, Dumbo does not belong as a number 1 seed because it is not a universally positive experience for everyone who rides it.
But it's so iconic.
But iconic.
No, but it's the
not
same thing as a magic. What is the difference between Dumbo, a magic carpet, or a dinosaur going up and down? It's just the same thing in a circle in a different.
Why is Dumbo a number 1? Yeah, Dumbo is a number 1 seed, but the Triceratops spin dinosaur didn't make the bracket at all. Like,
it shouldn't even be there. That should be a parking lot. Take it out of here with Primeval World. Get it out. I'm done with it. Dumbo is in the Smithsonian. It's not just a piece of an attraction that John Stamos brings to his house once it's closed. It is art, and it is authentically and quintessentially Disney. I mean, I don't
what
like
about the
being
carousel,
on it in particular.
though? Because with the carousel, there's actual stories, to some of the
over 100
different
years old
ride vehicles.
Yep. From here in Connecticut.
But
Carousel over Dumbo.
I think the carousel's over Dumbo too, but is that like because it's just one spinning thing? Maybe they're looking at like, all right, it's not a ride vehicle that's iconic. Like stepping on the Dumbo when you're a kid, you come back and ride it 20 years later. It's more iconic as opposed to just getting on a carousel that you can do almost anywhere around the country. Granted, we have a very special one, over 100 years old, a lot of history, but people might look down on that. I mean, again, we didn't make the ranking of 1 through 16, but there's another one I wanted to talk about if we can go back to the bracket.
Yes, sir. What are we talking about?
How are you going to put the safari truck and the Wildlife Express train against each other? Come on. Because, I mean, granted, the Wildlife Express train in its current version is trash, but a very creative way to be like, we can't show anyone this side of the park. Let's just take them over here. And there's a lot more they can do. But the safari truck, in my opinion, might be one of the greatest ride vehicles of all time. So this, I hope, I mean, it's going to also blow Sea Cab and Time Machine. Again, Spaceship Earth, that's so iconic too. How is that a 6 seed? That's insane.
Well, I want to go back and ask you, because Patrick, you opened it up with this. You said boats, or I believe it was you that said boats. So, but I mean, what differentiates one boat from the next? There's so many boats in here. Why is the It's a Small World boat any more important than the Pirates of the Caribbean boat? But I mean, how do you differentiate what's a good boat?
I think that's where you take the attraction into play. Does the boat play a part of the story? To me, the Jungle Cruise boat is one of the most iconic boats. It's very similar to Living with the Land, but it's different enough, and there's parts of the story. The boxes come into play. And I just see that boat and I'm transported to the Jungle Cruise, and I hope that they got it, nailed in the movie. The design of the boat and the story it plays in the attraction. I know a lot of people are saying we want the attraction separated from the vehicle, but it's all one big, beautiful piece of the puzzle, and you need to have a good attraction. I don't know if you can have a bad ride vehicle and a good attraction, but I think you could have a good ride vehicle and a bad attraction, and it's hard to kind of play the balance there.
So in this one where we've got all these different ones, and you said a good ride vehicle and a bad attraction, and I think knowing her opinion on it, Jill would maybe say the Run-Amok Railroad might be a problem there. You agree, Jill?
Yep.
That's a great ride.
I don't know. I think it's a good ride vehicle. I don't think it's a great ride vehicle. I think it's good. I think it deserves better than a 14 seed. Like, I'm curious why, the boat thing is weird. Like, I think Small World is a 4 seed, but what is special about that boat? There is literally, that boat,
nothing.
You could swap all those boats out.
Yeah.
Why is the boat a classic?
I think he's playing people's nostalgia and what it meant. Like, maybe when it first came out, it was first ever boat ride, maybe at the World's Fair. Then, but if you're judging a category in today's standards, you can't be like, well, think about how it was in 1953 when they showed it.
Exactly.
You're like, okay, think about anything else we've done since then. Now the seat zaps your bottom. Now you can go over humps and on the major, you can do all these things.
You go outside and
you have to judge them equally. Yeah.
You could take a boat from Grand Fiesta Tour, which again didn't make the bracket, and put it into Small World, and I guarantee you 99% of riders would never know the difference. So you can't tell me that one deserves to be a 4 seed and the other doesn't deserve to be in the bracket at all, when they are literally identical and you could exchange them and 99% of them get blue.
Also, what about...
real quick, James in chat said something about that I hadn't thought of, is that the Space Mountain vehicle is really super uncomfortable to get in and out of. I mean, that at that point, are you measuring theming, functionality, comfort? Does that? I mean, and Kamala, you were about to talk about something here, but do you think comfort weighs into it?
So this actually goes in nicely. I think Slinky Dog has great theming. It's it's really part of the ride. It's comfortable. I mean, I can't remember it being uncomfortable, easy to get in and out of. So, I mean, yes, no one wants to be uncomfortable while you're on these rides. I will say Disneyland's version, I think, it's hard to get out of, but it's version, but...
Well, and we do all of these are Disney World ride vehicles, and they're not Disneyland vehicles. And I think we could have done sort of a subsection or a second bracket of Disneyland ride vehicles, really, because of all the ones that are out there. Just let me go around, because we're starting to run out of time here, but I want to hear from each of you a favorite from each of the 4 brackets, starting with you, Patrick. Which ones do you think, not just how they're seated, but which ones do you think deserve to be number 1, starting with this first bracket?
I think when you look at the first bracket, Nautilus obviously gets the nostalgia vote, but I think if you're talking about number 1, I mean, the link chair from Flight of Passage as a 13 seed is baffling to me.
The Cinderella story?
I think it can be a Cinderella story. I think it can possibly go all the way. It is it's such a huge key to the attraction, and it breathes. That's nuts.
Yeah. Jill, what do you like in this one?
This one's tough. I don't know that I have... I mean, maybe the pirate ship from Peter Pan's Flight I would put up there, because it's so iconic, and it's... you feel, getting into that ride vehicle, you feel like you're becoming part of the story, which I think there aren't as many attractions or ride vehicles in this bracket that fit that category. But I think People Mover is going to go really far and deserves to, because it's so unique. And that's one that I think is really hard to separate the ride vehicle from the ride, because, you've got this very kind of unique within Disney ride system. You've got the doors that slide open. Like, there's so much that I think is part of the ride vehicle. Like, the nostalgia is about the ride vehicles one, which I think is not necessarily true. I think for most of these, the nostalgia is about the ride itself. But for me, I think People Mover kind of bridges that gap a little bit. And I think it's just so well loved.
And you can bang them into each other. Kamila, what are you liking in this one?
It's People Mover for me too. Get your own space. It's comfortable, easy to get in and out of. You can really sit back and enjoy the ride.
Awesome. Pete?
I would have to agree. I think People Mover easily wins the bottom half of this visual you're seeing right now. However, I totally agree. I think the 13 link chair, I think the only place it runs into trouble is that, like, when they get into a ride vehicle, is it a vehicle, a movie, you're sitting on one thing. But I think with the technology, the fact that when you're looking down to start, the blinking lights trick your eyes into falling into this new world, that you link with this other person in front of you, that it vibrates, da-da-da, da-da-da. And then, of course, with it breathing between your legs, I think there's certain points, even when you first fly into that dark cave and it's just silent. Without that ride vehicle breathing between your legs, giving you that feeling first, and then you hear the like that's an amazing ride vehicle. So I don't know, link chair up top and People Mover on the bottom.
Yeah, I think y'all are sleeping on the honeypot, because I think the fact that it moves with each of the scenes, whether it's floating or whether it's bouncing with Tigger,
has a unique look.
It just could get better to me. Is that they already did that with Runaway Railway? Is now they can put vibrations under your seats. They can make you dance left, right, front, set. So I just feel like the honeypot was good, but they improved it.
Gotcha. Back up to you, Patrick, for this one right here. What are you liking in this one? A
couple people said it in the chat, and I'm a big fan of the swirling saucer. I know not everybody is, and I think Mater's a superior version of it. And Pete, man, he made some really great points about the safari truck. But let's remember Maelstrom. Let's think about the giant hit that Frozen is, and the Viking ship is. Man, I think it's a great. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm projecting, and I think a boat's going to win. But I think the Viking ship, it has great design to it. It looks unique. Could be a real sleeper.
All right, Jill?
I don't know. I want to say Liberty Bell on this one.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Like, it's so, like, the ride vehicle is the ride. Like, they're inextricably the same thing. It's so iconic in Disney history for being a ride vehicle, not for being a ride, but for being a ride vehicle. It has so much history connected to Walt Disney World and the Disney Company. And it's, I don't know. I just, like, of all of these, like, I walk up and look at the Liberty Bell and, like, it takes my breath away every time. And I don't say that about probably any other ride vehicle in this entire bracket. So I think there's something to be said for that.
Okay. Kamila?
Doom Buggy Squad for life. You guys are killing me with these boats. I don't get it. Usually if I'm on a boat, I want to get off of it. You're on the Frozen ride and someone starts singing and I really want that person to stop. I mean, no. Just no with the boats. It's a bad
Y'all
move.
are killing me with the boats.
I've
had bad experiences on boats. No, Doom Buggy Squad for life. I love you. Walk up to the coffin. It's themed. It's simple. It opens for you because a ghost did it. I love it. I can't get enough.
Nice. All right, Pete, what are you liking in this one? You have to almost say Doom Buggy or she's going to come at you.
So here's the thing is that, like, I think Doom Buggy, again, kind of revolutionary, but anything could be there, and it's been done so many times, is that I just want to find something that I think elevates technology and what the Disney company has done. So, I mean, I got to stick with my pick. The Safari truck, over $100,000 a truck, 44 of them made. custom, made in America for the Disney parks to serve an exact purpose. Like these had to carry a certain amount of people. They have to go over the tracks. They clean where they go. It's really revolutionary what they can do. But I will say, if anything gives it a run for its money, I'd rather it be the Spaceship Earth time machine, because even though that is another Omni mover, just like People Mover, and again, like the Doom Buggy, which is great in this category, this is like a computer screen on it, touch screen, where you can say where you're from anywhere in the world, where you live now, and determine a whole new future for many, many years. I think this was one of the cooler things out of the gate from way back when. Like, I think my earliest memory of like an interactive experience was probably there on Spaceship Earth. And up top, what was the? Wait, can I see the bracket really quick? I won't even give an opinion. I just want to see it. Whoa! I just had a question. What is the game tram? What is that?
I have no idea. I'm gonna.
I don't know what the game tram is.
Let me see if I can
Maybe I thought it was just
find
me.
that info.
That's what I was asking.
No, there's a couple people, and the AARS train down here, I didn't immediately.
That might no. I think the ARS train is Expedition
Story.
Everest.
Game Tram is Toy Story Midway.
Game
Mania.
Tram is
I don't
Midway
know why.
Mania.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
Because
know why we call
we
it
have to
that,
have the
but-
proper nomenclature. That's a
Yes.
that's
a good one too.
Do you
That
count
is
the
a
gun
good
on that one? I mean, do you count that as part? I mean,
It's
it's
part of the
vehicle,
ride
right?
vehicle.
Yeah, and that's an incredible ride vehicle.
Part of the ship, part of the crew. All right, so let me.
When the ride vehicle is running at 100%, that Mount Everest ride vehicle with the steam coming out the back and how it goes forward and backwards, very smooth ride. Even with water falling on you at the end, that's a pretty cool ride vehicle.
So
Mine Train is a cool ride vehicle. It swings.
But it's tiny. If you're a big man or if you have wide hips, that is not a comfortable experience. I'm just saying.
Yeah, my hips don't lie. It's tight.
All right, Patrick, we're going to the next one, and I want to ask you before you tell me what your favorite is. Does it make sense that the Universe of Energy moving theater and the Great Movie Ride theater car are in this bracket together? Aren't they kind of the same thing?
No, I mean the Great Movie Ride and the theater. Are they? I imagine they're probably similar ride systems. This is some of the stuff why I don't get onto these shows anymore, and I can just spout off opinion. All
right, then just tell me what you want on this one, then.
What I want on this one, I think Kamila made an awesome point, and I think the carousel horse is, I mean, that's the story of the creation of Disneyland and the history, and each horse has different facts. I think that's such a sleeper. And the Tower of Terror elevator, to me, it kind of goes in the Dino Land area where it's themed by not having a theme, you know? Like, oh, it's supposed to look that bad, and I get it's supposed to look like a service elevator, and it does. It's not anything special, but it moves forward and backwards. It drops. It has the drop sequences. Are that part of the ride vehicle, or is that part of the attraction? That's stuff that they're going to have to, cut down to. Just hopefully it won't come down to which attraction has the most cash registers like it did in the past.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Tower Elevator doesn't make it to the Final Four, then we've done a disservice to this entire bracket. That was so revolutionary, and it's still cool AF. That Tower Elevator has to go way deep. It has to.
Yeah.
So, Jill, in this one, you've got a lot to pick between because Teacups, Tower of Terror, Mine Train, what do you like?
Teacups does not deserve to be a 1 seed. I'm sorry. I think that's ridiculous. I love Alice in Wonderland. I don't love this ride. I never go on this ride anymore because it makes me dizzy. Like, again, here's an issue. Some of these ride vehicles are not universally enjoyable by all guests, and Teacups are definitely one of them. I personally love the transport from Rise of the Resistance here. That's and Kamila made an excellent point about Slinky Dog. I think it's really unfortunate that Slinky Dog is up against the Great Movie Ride theater car in the first round because if I know the people who are going to be on this panel, Slinky Dog doesn't stand a chance, and that's really unfortunate because Slinky Dog is, I totally agree, an excellent ride vehicle and should deserve to probably be,
Can you picture, Tom? Think about it. A vehicle where a cast member could jump easily on and off. Was that even a thing before the Great Movie Ride? No, it was all solid vehicles. Now cast members can come and go and enhance. How does this not win? Great Movie Ride wins everything.
Does that make the cast member part of the ride vehicle? Because I think if we start calling cast members ride vehicles, we're getting into really dangerous territory.
You're talking Bob Chapek's language right
with
now.
His life. He's going to be like, capacity, microphones, live action.
All right, Kamila, what do you like in this one?
For me, it's Slinky Dog. I think that is just so cute. It's so fun. It adds so much to the ride itself. In many ways, I think it makes the ride. The vehicle does, because without it, the coaster is very good, but without it, the vehicle gives it the ride so much theming.
Okay, and I've screwed that up. And so then I'm going to ask you, Pete. What you seem to have already decided Tower of Terror, right?
I mean, the only thing it's just a shame they're in the same category would be the Rise of the Resistance, which is I thought that was in this one. Or maybe I don't see it. Is it up higher? Maybe it's up higher.
Prisoner Transport. It's number 5. It's a 5.
Oh, number 5. Yeah. So I think that is those two. I just feel like Tower of Terror kind of does the same thing, but it's just so much older. It deserves more of the credit, I would say, because you wouldn't have Prisoner Transport without Tower of Terror Elevator. And honestly, Tower of Terror Elevator could probably, right now, current day, do Prisoner Transport if you just programmed it the right way. So I feel like just because it's the OG and probably can still do the same thing, trackless ride vehicle with a drop sequence, that's grandpa right there, Prisoner Transport. So, I don't know. It's so iconic, and it changed the game. The History Channel did a whole program about it. Like, it was groundbreaking. It changed the whole industry. So I'm going to stick with my Tower of Terror pick.
Okay, then back to you, Patrick. We've got the final section here. What are you feeling in this one?
Time Rover all day.
Okay,
that's such a great vehicle. I know we're going to get it's a ripoff of Indiana Jones, but it's a great ride vehicle, and this is about Walt Disney World, and we don't have Indiana Jones, so give me the Time Rover. You do have to watch out for the hang glider, obviously. Pete wants to talk about Revolutionary, and there's been shows, and how many people in the world who aren't Disney fans know the freaking, I almost said Etch-a-Sketch, but Erector set. There it is. Words escaping.
Jill, how about
I would say, so this is the one that I think is going to be a problem, because this is the bracket that has the backlot tour tram, and I think we're going to see a lot of controversy happening around that. That's my prediction. I personally, I like the Sim Car, and I totally agree on the Time Rover. I think the Time Rover is a great ride vehicle. It really makes that attraction. It's the difference between that attraction and just like your standard basic ride through dark ride on, a tracked vehicle. Like, imagine the difference if that were a tracked vehicle through that ride versus the Time Rover. It's night and day. But I also, like I said, I love the Sim Car. I think that was pretty revolutionary, the entire test track ride system. And then that made things like Radiator Springs Racers possible. So those are my two favorites out of this bracket. I have to give a little love to the Seven Dwarfs Minecart, because I think that is so fun and brought such a unique spin on, Disney's got plenty of like runaway railroad, steel minecart type coaster rides. You've got Everest, you've got Big Thunder Mountain, but the ride vehicle on Mine Train brings something really unique to that ride experience that the others don't have, and I really like that.
All right, I have a question for you then. So on this bracket, it says Dwarf Minecart. I think that's the Snow White old OG minecart, because in this other bracket over here is Mine Train. Yeah,
this is going to be so confusing.
Yeah, so Mine Train's over here, and that's the current, and then this one over here, I think is, again, the OG Seven Dwarfs mine cart. But either way, I think you've already kind of pointed to others in this one.
Okay,
so.
but who knows what the Bravo 229 probe is?
Uh-huh.
Wait, where is that? Can we scroll up?
It's right.
It's in this bracket. It's at the top.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't see it. I don't see the top two. Oh, never mind. It's fine.
Well, I mean,
the log is in this one. Okay. All right. Good to know.
Yeah. So Kamila, you've got several boats to choose from here.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know what? I was thinking if I had to choose a boat, it would probably be the Pirates of the Caribbean boat because at least for that one, you're inside and the ride is kind of interesting. The 4 hang glider, is that Soarin'?
Yeah, I assume, right?
That's what we are going to say. Is that Soarin'?
I think that's the one I would choose. I think as a ride vehicle, it has obvious issues if you're not in the right spot. But if you are in the right spot, I think it's got a lot going for it.
Bravo is Body Wars.
And Pete, what are you thinking?
Yep.
All right, so when I first looked at this, I was like, "Oh man, backlot tour tram." But again, that vehicle didn't do anything. You were just on a actual tram. The same with the parking lot. It was really just the ground beneath you that moved. It wasn't the vehicle, and it really just went. You're just the tram from a parking lot. So I kind of ruled that one out there. The sim car was pretty revolutionary, like with all those tiny little tires underneath. I think it's 16 tires per vehicle. And that was the vehicle where, I mean, it shows in the documentary they did, but even Lasseter said, like, once we went on the sim car, we were like, oh, this is the ride vehicle for Cars Land. And that ended up being one of the best rides in all of DCA, I think, still to this day. I mean, the sim car changed the game, and it could stop on a dime, accelerate to 65 miles an hour. If it's not sim car, then I guess Time Rover, because, again, you have all these, vehicles with all these hydrolators going up and down, making you go left, right, up. I mean, I don't think Dinosaur is the right vehicle. I think it could be I think it could be better done. But the vehicle itself, I think, is better than the ride. So, if it's
Indiana Jones.
To me, I think it's either the Time Rover or the sim car.
Gotcha. Well, if you want to be a part of it, it starts tomorrow night on News Tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to go and register. You can go, again, to wdwnt.com/mm to go in and see what it's all about, to register. If you want to be able to affect change, this is your chance to do it. Otherwise, you're going to have to
see in the bracket.
Yeah, you're going to have to be... You're going to have to be at the mercy of the panel for tomorrow night. So, we've seen some bad things happen. We've seen Cosmic Ray. We've seen the Matterhorn win the best attraction of the unbuilt attractions. So you want to be able to weigh in. It's a lot of fun. Everybody has a favorite. We've had a lot of fun talking about it today. Next week on ParksCenter, we will break down what they decided last week or this Thursday. So make sure to tune back in with us then. A special shout out to our best dressed panel tonight. You guys really stepped it up a lot, even if it was mid-show. Thank you for doing that. And then also thank you to our Wigs members. Jill, do you want to give a little bit of information about Wigs real quick before we go?
Wigs are the best. Wigs are the WDWNT Interglobe Society. They are our special Patreon members who, for as little as $2 a month, get access to additional content. I'm going to be careful what I say here because we are changing some things about the Wigs program. So please know that effective April 1st, post shows are available to the seven and higher level starting then. So if you are a fan of the post shows, please know that if you are in the $2 test dummy tier, that is going to be going away effective April 1st. I want to make sure everybody's clear. If you have questions, concerns, issues, you can reach me by emailing wigs@WDWNT. But Wigs are awesome. They are our fans. They love us. They show their love. We give them love back. They get additional content. I want to tease. Actually, I'll save it for the post show. I'm going to tell you guys in the Wigs post show some cool other new content that everyone is getting in the next week or so. There are also special exclusive shows like Ride Rehab Watches, which is remaining available to everyone at all levels. We are also starting some new post shows. Tom versus Josh had a post show last night. I think Cosmic Read is going to have some post shows now and then. And then there is our Wigs exclusive Discord community where you get to chat with each other, and a bunch of staff pop in and chit chat now and then. You get core bucks at certain levels, all kinds of stuff. Visit us at patreon.com/WDWNT to learn more.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you guys again for joining us. And for the Wigs that are going to join us in the post show, we want to hear what you guys think about this week's March Madness, what you're thinking, what you're loving. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you soon.
See you back up.